Oh, there's one. He was submerged by the
Oh, we are two.
Muswati. You have too many. You should have a maximum of only one. Yeah. So how is everybody this morning? You are happy? Nobody was picked or annoyed by anybody before they came to work? Are we motivated to go to work today? Okay. I think we'll be flying back on a 777-300, and that's why we have a complement of about 12. Okay. You know this gentleman? Yeah? Bakari Toya? You've never flown with him? Okay. So we want to do a quick brief, and then we board by quarter two. Is that okay with you? Quarter two? So that we can depart on schedule. Our flight to Amsterdam today is going to take us 8 hours, exactly 8 hours if nothing changes, and we'll be flying about 34,000 feet initially and later climbing to 38,000 feet. And weather is good all through. However, occasional clear air turbulence, but should be nothing much to worry about. Now, we are here for one key objective today. What is the key objective for us today? You know, safety. For the guests to buy a ticket, they already have ticked that box. You guys are safe, isn't it? They know that we are safe, isn't it? Beyond this being safe, there is one key thing you have to do to ensure these guests come back again. Delighting them. So delighting them, they know more we delight somebody, or are we going to go that extra mile? Okay. And I always say, delightful experience with a warm African touch. And I think we are gifted by that warmth, isn't it? It's a gift from God, so we must share it with our guests, isn't it? And for us to do that, we must work together as one great team. We are 14 of us or so. We must ensure that we are able to live what? Our values, isn't it? And our values are how many? 6. There are six. And everybody, I think, knows. There's anybody who doesn't know how to remember them, isn't it? Yeah? So we are just going to touch about three of the values, and they'll come from you. So I ask Jerusa, one value that you're going to ensure that we live. You walk the talk for one value so that we can copy you. Which one are you going to do that?
Pick on respect.
Huh?
Respect.
Respect. Okay, that's mine too. I love that one. Yeah, we are going to leave that with you. How are you going to live so I can follow?
We begin as respecting one another.
Yes.
As a team.
Yes.
Over to the guests.
Yes.
Respect
Yeah.
the guests. And respect goes a long way. You respect someone, they respect you back.
Yes. Good. Now, who's the youngest here? Youngest, not age when you were born. Youngest in Kenya Airways. Youngest in Kenya Airways. Who's 1 year? Less than 1 year?
2 years.
2 years. Ah, today we have very senior people. 2 years and above. So irrespective of us, 2 years, and with my colleague here, Nelly, we've been here for very many years. So irrespective of how old we are in Kenya Airways, that does not matter. Irrespective of how many bars we have today, we have very many bars here, all combined. So to me, respect, when you are dealing with the guests, rank does not apply. We are now one team working together to ensure we deliver that delightful experience. So whatever you are doing, however young you are, let us work together. Don't fear that, oh, I cannot talk to Paul because of ABCD senior. No. Come through, let's talk together, ensure that any OTI that comes on board, we're able to deal with it and kill it on board before the guests come out, isn't it? We've committed to that. So that value is very, very important. Another value, one more value? Imbo, one value. Passion, okay. How are you going to make us into passion juice? How are you going to turn it into passion juice? Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Oscar, you have got too many ladies. Can you tell me how you're going to take care of them? Okay, one more value. Yeah. Safety. Okay, safety, yes.
We are safe
Yeah.
at all times.
Yes.
Equipment's on board.
Yeah.
Where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We take care of each other throughout the flight.
Yes.
Yeah, as we disembark here.
Okay. Good. Safety is actually, we don't want to overkill it. We know we live safety, isn't it? It's a key value that we live. Even before we amended the values to become 6, safety was still one of the key values. Okay. Bakari, anything you want to add to the team?
Apart from that, morning again.
Good morning.
I hope that you rested well, enjoy the flight. And, the main part is also that you have fun as you operate
work.
with those values that you have. Always have a safe flight.
Good. So we've promised to delight our guests, and we want to start delighting them by ensuring we depart before time, at least 5 minutes before time. I think you've checked all the equipment. Nobody is invalid. All your certificates are in order. We commit, they're all checked. And the hours are also in order. We've also checked ours. So I think we are good to go. I normally welcome my guests on board, so I will be having one person to welcome the guests with. Oh, you're my friend, Juliet. We delight them from the beginning. Okay. Anything else? Any feedback? Anything else? If there is nothing else, I think then we can do a quick round and then we give the boarding clearance as soon as you're ready. Okay. Thank you very much, and I wish you a best flight. However, we committed, and when you commit to something, there must be where you sign that you've committed. So I don't normally use a pen. I use my hand. So I want to shake each of you. If you don't want to delight our guests, please don't shake my hand, so that we can know you are.
Yes.
Okay. Nora, Jerusha, Paris, are you going to shake my hand or not? Yeah. Rachel, Angela, Ibo.
Most definitely.
Definitely. Good.
I will for sure.
You will, eh? Yes. So when we debrief at the hotel in Amsterdam, we have we have realized our commitment, eh? Okay, thank you very much, and I wish you a very pleasant flight. Okay? Thank you very much.
All right, good morning. My name is Bakari Toya. I'm a first officer on the Boeing 777-200 with Kenya Airways. This morning, we are in preparation for a flight to Amsterdam Schiphol. The flight number is KQ116. And I'll be doing the walk around just to inspect the aircraft, confirm that it's okay for our departure to Amsterdam. So join me as we do the walk around. So this morning we'll start with our initial outflow valve. This is the forward outflow valve. I want to see that there are no obstructions on it and it's clear. And we've got the oxygen crew. For crew oxygen, which is a discharge, you have to check that the plastic is on board. And then we'll continue to check our gear doors, confirm that they're all okay. As we look at our probe hits and our pitot, confirm that they're not blocked. And this is our pushback track, so we'll be clearing it as we go along. Otherwise, look at the condition of the nose of the aircraft, confirm that we have no lightning strikes that are affecting us, and the integrity of the hull of the aircraft, and the windows as well, they're all okay. As we continue along, we check on the first officer side, it has the same probe and the angle of attack vanes, they're all okay. And then we'll come to check our nose gear. And you can see the bypass pin is installed for our pushback since the pushback track is connected. And we'll check the condition of the tires as well, the integrity, that there are no any major cuts on it. And the extensions of our hauliers as well. So as we look behind here, we want to see that the snappers, which will stop the forward nose gear, goes in, also in place, and the condition is also okay. As we come along, let's check our doors are all, and our holes are also closed, and the integrity is okay. And all these are our beacons for checking. We have a couple of static ports. We want to make sure that these are all open, because if they are closed, then it affects our airspeed indications and altitude. So we want to see that they are all unblocked and clear, the vent. The lower condition of the main gear, as we come down here, it's all okay. And this is our right engine. So we want to check that there is no obstructions in the engine as we walk along, because most accidents happen due to foreign object damage, which affects the fan blades as they rotate. As we come along to the other side, we want to check that all the panels are locked and latched, and the engine is secure for our departure. This particular engine is a Trent 892B, which has about 90 pounds of thrust. It is a Rolls-Royce engine. Otherwise, all the panels are closed, and you want to check the forward leading edges of the wing. This is what provides our lift. You don't want to have any dents on it, so we have to check that there are no dents. as we go along. All right. We've got a couple of static wicks at the top. These are what discharge the electrical charge of the aircraft once we fly to the air or we are hit by lightning. And we've got our position lights. You have to confirm that all of them are in. And we'll come around, check that all the fuel vents are closed to allow the aircraft ready for departure. Then we'll come along and check the main landing gear, the flaps and the ailerons on this side, that they are not obstructed by anything and they are ready for our flight. And this is the main landing gear, which has 6 wheels on each side. So we want to check the condition of the wheels, and we have the brake wear indicators. You have to confirm that they are also in position. That's okay. And there are no leakages of any fluid. And this allows for proper check. You have to also check that the pressure is okay. You have a note there that indicates your minimum pressure, which you can check in the flight deck. Otherwise, the main landing gear on the left looks okay. And we also have to check that we don't have any pins that affect or impede the gearing action. Also, the gear doors are all okay. And continue here to the back of the aircraft. Got a number of vents here which discharge water, and we have to check that all the panels are also closed and they are secure for our departure this morning. We've got here on the empennage of the aircraft, and we have a couple of static hooks here as well. You have to confirm that they're all there before we depart for our aircraft. The condition is also good for the wing, so this is also part of a tail wing. And our radar is also fixed and it's okay. So as we go along, this is our APU panel. Let's check that it's closed. That's the APU operating at this time. This provides enough air and electrical power for this aircraft in case we lose our engine or any of those generators. Now we've got one of our guys up there just closing the doors. See how it's going. This is the outflow valve, which controls the pressure of the aircraft as we climb and descend. So you can see the condition is okay, and we have all the panels on this side are also closed and secure. This time as we do our walk around, I'm also checking around to see what activities are going on. I can see that the fueling is finished. This is done on the left side of the engine. And we've got a bit of cargo going on the bulk of the aircraft. So we checked the same as before on the other side. The brake wear pins are also there for the 6 wheels, and that there's no leakage in anywhere. Pressure looks okay for each of the main landing gear. It's okay. We'll do as well as we did on the other side. Doors are also okay on this side, so it's okay. And look at the tail section of the 777. You can see a bit of a drooping there. This is normal on this 777-200. As we pressurize the aircraft, then the panels will all come up. And the same static wicks on this side. They are all in position, and we've got our port position lights, which are 2. And they're all functional. The leading edge is also okay on this side, and the similar checks on the engines on the left side. The engines are interchangeable. You can put the left engine on the right and the right engine on the left. This is no problem. So we're checking that there is no obstructions for our panels. All the panels are closed, and the rotational pins are also okay. No clinks, no holes on these takeoff probes are also okay. Forward leading edge is okay. Then we finish our walk around by checking the static ports on this side, and they're all okay. And these are negative relief valves. Positive relief valves and negative relief valves, which allow for the aircraft to depressurize in case of any malfunction. Otherwise, that's the end of our walk around on the Boeing 777-200 series. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you. Welcome to the flight deck of the 777-200 series. This registration is 5 Yankee, Kilo Yankee Zulu. We're just about preparing for departure. And initially, as we walk in, we want to check our documents to confirm that they're all okay for our dispatch. And we check our flight paperwork, which is our flight plans, the weather, and our NOTAMs into our destination, which is a notice to airmen telling us about any deficiencies in the airports that we are flying to. So once that is completed, we'll be able to set up the aircraft, which we are now. We've got our auxiliary power unit on, so that is what is powering the aircraft at this time on one side. And we have also the ground power, which is connected. So once that is completed, we are able to do our security checks, safety, and confirm that the aircraft is clear of any foreign objects or anything that is not required in this flight deck. Otherwise, once we sit in the flight deck, we are able to program our flight management system in preparation for our departure to Amsterdam Schiphol. And our flight number this morning is KQ116 to Amsterdam, which is written here in the flight number. So this is our flight plan here indicates our routing, which is Nairobi to Amsterdam, and we pre-programmed that into the FMC. This also allows us to put in all the legs that we require and the airways that we'll use en route to Amsterdam. Okay, so on this flight plan, we have a couple of things which shows our flight number, which is KQ116 to Amsterdam Schiphol. And then we have the wind components and the cost index, which is our quotient of the crew charges that we have, the performance of the aircraft, resulting in a figure which allows us to fly the aircraft at a certain speed to make it economical for us to operate. The cost of the fuel come into play, and the crew that are operating the aircraft as well. So in this morning, we have a cost index of 90. Which will give us a cruise Mach number at about 34,000 feet over decimal 84. Otherwise, it also indicates our brake release weight, our landing weight, zero fuel weight this morning, and the registration of the aircraft. And then we have the fuel required to our destination, and contingency, which is this morning is 3%. This is extra fuel for any eventualities, either weather deviation or climbing and descending due to air traffic control. Once that is input in the flight plan, then we cross-check between the two pilots, and we execute that for our departure. So this morning that is all completed, and we should be shuttle departing in the next 10 minutes or so. After that, then we do a walk around, which we've completed, and then we'll come up and set up the flight deck, which we have first officer and captain duties. So in this morning, I'll just take you through the first officer duties. The primary flight computers switches are all in the normal position, and that all our switches here are in the normal position. At this time, you can see a couple of ambers. This is normal because we have not started our engines. Once we start up our engines, all these lights are going to go off. Then we just go through the panels one by one. We have the emergency lights here, which should be on, and these are all our hydraulic switches. We have primary and demand pumps. So these are the pumps, and all off at this time. Once we pressurize the aircraft, they'll also go off. These are our seat belts, and these are our area lights, including the landing, left, right, and the nose landing lights. And you'll come over here. This is the cargo fire panel, which is just normal maintenance. We rarely touch it on this 777. And then here we have the engine electronic control, which that controls the engines. That's the fuel and how much of power you require for departures. Here we have the fuel jettison. These are just in the guided position. I only use this for jettisoning. We rarely touch this as well. And this is the fuel panel, which is our fuel pumps. We have about 6 fuel pumps, 2 in the center and 2 on each left and right side. On this 777, we've also got a DC pump, which is separate and is not indicated here. That operates automatically in case we need to relight an engine, or for an automatic start of the APU, or when the engines are off, then the APU can also run from that pump. This is the anti-ice section. We've got wing and engine anti-ice. Out of Africa, we rarely use them because the temperatures are quite high. but out of Europe, then we most of the time we'll probably use the engine anti-ice. Then these are just normal lights for position, and beacon lights. These are also landing lights. On this other side, we've got the forward cargo AC. This morning, from our documentation here, you can see that we are carrying a bit of flowers, so we need to keep cool. And this is the section that they're loaded in. So I'll keep this temperature at a cool 4 degrees this morning. And this is the air conditioning panel. This is what controls the flight deck temperatures and the cabin temperatures. So here we've got the auto switches, which I've put them in the auto position. This allows the cabin crew to have a variation of about 6 degrees from where I've set them. And from here you can see the minimum temperature now, which I've commanded is about 23 degrees. The cabin crew can have a variation of that. And we'll come here to the bleed air. This is what we use for pressurizing the cabin and also air conditioning. This time the APU is the one that is on, and we're using that to cool the cabin, also warm it up. And further lower is the pressurization panel, and this controls the outflow valve, which I was showing you in the walk around. Otherwise, we've got wipers on this side. Then I'll come down here. These are my flight directors, and this gives me the commands for takeoff and cruise, which is based on our flight plan, which we've input in the flight management system. Then on this side, I've got my oxygen, which I'll check. And then I'll come across here, my electronic flight bag, which I'll be able to set once you have completed everything. Otherwise, these are the switches for the flight management computers. It's the auto position. And we'll come up here for the EGBWS system. This is ground inhibit. The switches are all in their normal position. Then we have the auto brake system. For departures, we'll be setting that to RTO, which is our rejected takeoff. In case you reject takeoff, then the automatic system will come on above 80 knots. And now we'll have here as a checklist, which I have to reset from the previous flight. And that is now completed. And this is our communication system, which is our ACAS and all that. That also already set, so that we have a clear and initialization for this new flight. Otherwise, we'll come down here, just confirm that all the switches are in their correct position. This is our strap trim, cutout switches. They're all in the position. And then I'll set up the ground frequencies tower, which you'll need for this morning. And confirm that my weather radar is in the test position. And just set up our ACAS system through data. And we'll come down here and confirm all the switches are also in their normal position for dispatch. And on this side is similar to the other side. So we've got 3 radios on this aircraft, which is left, center, which is down here, and the right up here. Then this is our transponder, which allows the air traffic control to be able to see our position and all that. So this morning for our dispatch out of our home station, we normally set these on the left side for dispatch. And then on the inbound back to Nairobi, set that to the right side, just as a cross-check to confirm that both sides are working. Otherwise, that's the end of the flight deck pre-flight. Thank you. This is the aircraft technical log, which is where we input all the deficiencies of the aircraft before dispatch. So this morning, the engineer has been able to fuel. We require 66 tons as per our flight plan for dispatch, which we have fuel for the aircraft. So that's 66 tons for dispatch, and that's cross-checking that we have 66 tons on board, and also we've got that fuel on board the aircraft, and that's all in kilograms and is indicated here. Once that is completed, I can check the hydraulic mounts that we have on board, and that I can check also from there. So the engineer will cross-check physically on the ground, and I'll be able to cross-check that from my indications here. And from there, I can also check the engine oil quantities and confirm that they're good for our dispatch this morning. That is all set up. Once you have confirmed and cross-checked that all these things are ready for departure, then I'll be able to append my signature here to confirm that I've also cross-checked, and the captain will also be able to sign the same. And that from there, we are able to leave a copy here on ground, and we take off with this, indicating that we have met our required minimums for departure. Yeah, that's the end of it. So it's our electronic flight bag, which you have the data that we require for our departure. Yeah. So I've got the airport map, terminal charts, and the pilot utilities, which we use for calculations and all that, and the performance data and the documents which we loaded up on the electronic flight bag. So this morning we're departing out of Nairobi to Amsterdam, which we have set up here for our departure. So the charts indicate from Nairobi, and our destination is Amsterdam. So that's HKJK, which is our ICAO codes, to EHAM, which is Amsterdam. At done and completed, then we clip the charts that we require for our departure this morning. So I have Nairobi ground charts, apron control area, and from there to the runway for our departure. Also, we clip the charts that we require for our takeoff, which is this morning expecting London 1 Yankee departure of runway 6, which is the northeasterly facing runway. Once we've clipped all these charts, then we do a briefing together with the captain, and once that's completed, we are just about ready now for performance. So of the performance area, I'll select the airport. Today is Nairobi this morning, runway that's runway 06, dry runway, and wind today is 210 at 5 knots. Outside air temperature of about 17 degrees, and our QNH is 1022. Thrust rating, will set that to optimum, so it gives us the best performance for our takeoff. Auto and engine and wing anti-ice in auto. Okay, 0 fuel weight over 180.3, and I'll set there 180.3. It gives us 200 kilos less and a takeoff weight of 246 tons. 46.
That's correct. The trim is 27 units.
Okay. Takeoff CG 27 units, giving us a trim of 5.75 nozzle. Okay. And I'll set this also on the performance date and calculate our takeoff. Yep. And we can send all this data out to our printer, so we have a confirmed copy of it. And that's the same indications from the electronic flight bag. Yeah.
Schiphol, Amsterdam. This aircraft is a 777-200, better known as Mount Rongonot, one of the mountains on the Rift Valley. I'm Paul Mwangi, your captain, and my first officer is Bakari Toya, and in charge of the cabin is Flight Passer Neri Conchera. We have a team of 11 warm, friendly crew who have promised to give you a very great service on this flight to Amsterdam. We take great pleasure in recognizing our Sky Team Elite Plus members, and we thank you very much for your continued support. Our flight today will be 8 hours, and we're cruising at 34,000 feet.
Hello?
Go ahead, from ground.
I can
We
just stand by.
expect clear skies and
Stand
a smooth ride, and finer details of our routing will be available on the screens. However, I shall endeavor to point out anything of interest as we fly along. And request you to kindly pay attention to announcements and the safety related information that will be provided to you shortly. And we wish you a very, very pleasant journey to Amsterdam. Thank you and welcome aboard.
Good morning, Kenya 116. Request push, correction request start. Flight level is 340, destination Amsterdam. We have 5 Yankee Kilo Yankee Zulu Bravo 772.
The Kenya 116 start is approved. Flight level 340.
Start approved, level 340, Kenya 116. Before start checklist.
Yeah, go ahead.
Passenger signs.
On.
Cockpit windows and door.
Locked.
Unlocked. Trim.
004.75.
5.75. Fuel quantity.
Got 66.2 tons this month checked.
Let's cross check now that you switch those off.
Yeah. That's why.
The MCP, yeah.
MCP is set.
CDU.
Set.
Transponder.
2000, waiting for the ATC one, and before start complete.
Before start check is complete.
Can we start? You start right and left.
Clear to start both engines.
Okay, start right and left.
Starting right.
Start left.
Starting left.
Jumbo, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have closed the doors for our...
Okay, we are
with you on taxi Golf.
So we are starting up the engines. This is an auto start. So the electronic engine, the engine control computers are starting up the engines, just monitoring it. And what is happening now is that it's monitoring the engines up to a minimum main 2, and then it will inject the fuel. We'll get light up and cross-check that. So this is all automated system, and our duty here is just to monitor that we have oil pressures on the left and right engines, which are cross-checked now.
So now 2 are okay.
Yeah.
So we can no more start and do the afters, please.
Oh, Joe.
Your flap 5, please.
Flaps 5?
You have the microphone, eh? For this?
Yes.
For this one, eh? Okay.
It's on.
Ground control from Schiphol. Good morning, once more with you. Number 2 on Golf for Max parking. Total on board 21 passenger, 7 crew request parking.
You have a wet one? Do you have any wet one?
No.
No.
I confirm, sir.
Okay.
No.
No more.
Flight deck from Garo.
Go ahead.
End of pushback, kindly set park brake.
My parking brake is set now. Remove equipment and signal to the left.
Copied. Removing equipment, standby for hand signal on the right, on the left.
After start check.
You're not on the stronger, we're using gravity.
Flight controls.
Okay. Renders.
Check.
Okay, left render.
Left check.
Okay, right render.
Right check.
Okay, and after, before taxi check.
Okay, after start checklist engine, anti-ice.
Yes. Auto.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Recall.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Clear, right. After start checklist complete.
Start check complete. It's okay. Eh?
Just coming up, yeah.
Taxi.
Arch.
Ground Kenya 116 request taxi.
Kenya 116 cleared taxied via Kilo approaching Golf. Correction, via Kilo approaching Golf Tower 1187.
Via Kilo approaching Golf Tower 1187, Kenya 116.
Taxi light on.
Taxi light on, right is clear.
Ground Kenya 760.
760, morning, go.
Kenya 760, 5 Yankee, Charlie Yankee Delta, Bay 13 with 92 pax 6 crew. Request pushback for Johannesburg.
760, clear to push.
Clear to push, Kenya 760.
Nairobi ground, good morning, Kenya 702.
702, morning, go.
I request pushback with Juliet 2 with 69 diagonal 7, Echo 1 and a
You have a
05
bit of
Yankee,
cargo, eh?
Foxtrot Juliet.
Wait a bit. Let's check our
Also, somebody pushing from 13.
Standing by Kenya 702.
36 tons.
Okay, yeah, no wonder.
Yankee,
Feel
Whiskey
it.
Alpha,
Can feel it, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Whiskey Alpha, morning, go.
Inbound from Kisumu with 43 diagonal 3, on Golf, request for the taxi and parking.
Whiskey Alpha, continue on Golf. Connect approaching taxi hotel. 3 passengers only.
Continue on Golf, call approaching hotel, parks are 42.
Feedback Kenya 760.
Wait for 760.
Make a long push. Expect out Juliet for company 702 to push before you.
Make a long push, expect Juliet, Kenya 760.
702 ground.
Okay.
The Fire Hotel Romeo Airborne 21, contact Wilson on 181, good day.
Change to Wilson 81. Good day, thank you very much. Charlie Romeo.
Welcome, break the Kenya 432, clear takeoff 06210 for knots.
Clear takeoff 06, Kenya 432.
Kenya 494, line up runway 06 in turn.
Line up runway 06 in turn, Kenya 494.
Kenya 410, you line up number 3 in turn.
Line up number 3 in turn, Kenya 410.
Kenya 116, every request for the taxi with 155 souls on board, endurance 0950.
Say again, souls on board only?
155, Kenya 1167.
Right, just Cook 1713. Proceed via Kilo to hold short of holding point runway 06.
Just go 1713, get to the holding point, position to hold short of holding point runway 06, Kenya 1167.
Kenya 602.
Kenya 602.
1713 on the squawk.
Okay. Star approved 330.
Star approved 330, Kenya 602.
Great. Kenya 490 for clear takeoff 0622, caution 210 at 5 knots.
Cleared for takeoff runway 06, Kenya 494.
Kenya 432 radar on 223.
223, Kenya 432.
Kenya 116, every request holding point in town.
Kenya 116, taxi to holding point, cleared flight level 340 Antac. After departure, maintain runway heading until passing flight level 100, left turn out to Antac.
Declared the holding point runway 06, and for departure out of runway 06, cleared flight level 340 Antax, on heading to 100 left turn Antax, Kenya 116 heading.
Kenya 116, readback is correct.
Okay, so 340, position Antax.
Line up, take 100 left and out.
AFM. I just said that up once you get airborne.
Yeah, thanks.
Cabin ready?
Yeah.
Kenya 410, 2005 knots, cleared for takeoff runway 06.
Clear takeoff 06, Kenya 410.
Kenya 494, contact radar 122.3.
Contact radar 122.3, Kenya 494.
Kenya 116, line up runway 06 and wait.
Cleared line up runway 06 and wait, Kenya 116.
Correct.
One taking off to the right, clear?
Yeah. Left is clear. Okay, and advise crew, and then we do the before takeoff check.
The gross weight for takeoff is 246.2.
Okay.
The fuel on board is 65.9 tons.
Thanks. Before takeoff check.
Before takeoff checklist. Takeoff briefing.
Reviewed.
Cabin secure and PA.
Confirmed.
Standing by the takeoff clearance.
Thank you. We're on handling a half.
Check.
Nairobi Tower, Kenya 702 on Juliet approaching Gulf, requesting further taxi.
Kenya 702, standby, break, Kenya 410, contact radar 122.3.
1223, morning, Kenya 400.
Good morning, break, Kenya 116, 220, phone off, clear for takeoff runway 06.
Clear for takeoff runway 06, Kenya 116. Before takeoff checklist.
Kenya 702, scope 1737,
Pulling.
taxi by Gulf to holding point runway 06.
Scope 1737, taxi via Gulf,
Thrust right.
runway 06, Kenya 702.
Correct.
Kenya 760.
Takeoff power set.
Juliet, request further taxi with 98 Sol, endurance 0540.
80 knots.
Check.
Kenya 760,
Hold.
scope 1731, taxi via Juliet Gulf to the holding area runway 06.
Scope 1731, Juliet Golf to the holding area, runway 06, Kenya 760.
And a position at 722, approaching taxiway Gulf Mobile Hotel with a
V1.
29
Noted.
for 50 minutes endurance.
Position 72, standby, break, Kenya 702, taxi to the holding area, number 2 for departure by company, claiming high
Positive
level
rates.
time local.
Gear up.
Gear.
Taxi to the holding area, number 2 for departure,
L nav.
Kenya 702.
Respect Kenya 760, taxi holding point.
Taxi holding point, Kenya 760.
Respect position
Thrust
762,
left,
taxi
window
by
speed,
Hotel Golf
check.
to the holding area, number 3 for departure, scope 1720.
Copy that 1720, Hotel Golf number 3 for departure, holding area position at 722.
Correct.
Climb thrust.
Check.
Kenya 116, contact radar 122.3.
Radar 1223, Kenya 116, good day.
Good day.
0 feet, QNH 1022.
1022, where the south is successfully 6500 feet, Oscar Robin, we are scoring now 2011.
Alright, break, Kenya 494. Spread your climb through level 180 due traffic. Your traffic is an ATS 75. 12 o'clock position, same direction, 18 miles.
Spread out of level 180, copy traffic, Edward, Kenya 3, Kenya 494.
Alright, she's passing through level 167 now.
Kenya 494.
Radar Jumbo Kenya 116, climbing to 8,500 feet for level 340, 100 left turn, direct on tax.
Kenya 116 morning, grade 18 for departure. 9,000 turn left to tax, climb level 340.
9,000 left direct on tax, climb 340, Kenya 116.
Correct.
Okay, acceleration we have.
Okay, traffic, no restriction on your particle speed.
Speed is good.
Slow traffic, Kenya
Flaps one.
494.
Direct antax. 9,000, yeah? Execute that.
Okay, standard.
Okay, confirm.
Execute, please.
Check executed. And the standard 88 climbing.
88. Check. Flaps up, please.
Speed is good. Flaps up. Terrain my side.
Thank you.
F10 separation, cloud heading on 300. Heading 300, Kenya 410. Correct, on heading passing 260, normal last to Alcon. Passing level 260, resume normal navigation, Alcon, Kenya 410.
100 climbing.
Check, and after takeoff, check please.
Seat belts.
Can put it to, we can hold on right to bit. We passed here fast.
Okay. After takeoff checklist complete.
After takeoff check complete, thanks.
This is 114. They give you more power. Set climb thrust already.
You have climb, yeah.
Set
It's
200.
It's heavy.
They give you a lower speed.
Yeah.
And that's 318.
Second.
I give you a lower speed than 318. Accelerating to 318. Square pin. I think we'll clear. About 40 miles.
Yeah. We will. 145
is the
145.
Yeah.
Kenya 350.
280.
Then level 360. Nairobi control 1213.
280.
Nairobi control 1213. Kenya 350. Good morning. Good morning.
It's actually heavy, eh?
It's quite heavy.
That's 240. It was 245.
Yeah.
Huh?
240, yeah.
240. That's not.
It's quite heavy.
2010, 267. Good view of Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
Delta Kenya 760, passing 7,400 feet for level 360, right turn Lossin.
Yes, 160 morning, grade identified depart. Report Lossin.
Report Lossin, Kenya 760.
14, yeah, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
45.
Coming through 145.
It was 300 B.
Yeah, we'll be way
shooting up.
Kenya 40 report heading. Kenya 40 heading 300. Alright.
Okay, seatbelt go to auto, please.
Okay.
And autopilot on, please.
Autopilot on, annunciated.
Check.
Nairobi Kenya 651 request visa. Kenya 651 descend level 120. 120 Kenya 651.
That's why.
MCP?
MCP is set.
Should be
Set.
transponder.
2000, waiting for the TC1. Before start complete.
First start check.
We start right and left. We start right and left. Start left.
Start left.
A few words, what's happening on the screen?
We're starting up the engines. This is an auto start. So the electronic engine, the engine control computers are starting up the engines, just monitoring it. And what is happening now is that it's monitoring the engines to a minimum main 2, and then if you inject the fuel, you get light up in the first check out. So this is all automated system, and our duty here is just to monitor that we have all pressures and left and right engines, which are cross checked.
Okay, so you can normal start and do the after space. The flap 5 please.
That's fine.
You have the microphone, eh?
Yes.
For this one, eh? You have a white one. You have a white one.
Mike, Mike.
Kilo approaching Golf Tower 187, Kenya 167.
Right on.
So the one that is
You have a bit of cargo, eh? In a bit. Let's check the later.
36 tons.
Okay, yeah, no wonder. Yeah.
Kenya 116 every plus for the taxi with 155 souls and boarding bill answer 0950. Kenya 167. Scope 1713, we have to the holding point, Roger of the holding point, 06 Kenya 167. 1713 on the scope.
Okay.
flight level 100, left come out to answer.
Articulate your running point runway 06, so then for departure out of runway 06, flight level 240 untaxed. Untaxed when you're heading to 100 left turn, untaxed get now 116.
Yeah, 116, very back is fine.
Okay, so 340, position untaxed.
Right now, take 100 left and out.
So once you get here.
Yeah, thanks. Are we ready? Yeah.
Kenya 410 platform, there's a people from Kenya 494, contact radar on to Juliet Crossing. Contact radar 1 and 2,
Left is clear. Advise crew and then we do the before.
Crossing for takeoff is 246 this one. Okay. If you're not board 65 this one 90.
Nice. Before takeoff check.
Before takeoff check is to check the
Review.
Can I say QNP?
Performance. And heading half.
Yeah, 702 standby, break back Kenya 410, contact radar on to Juliet Crossing. Morning, break back Kenya 116, 220, follow, there's a people from Amsterdam.
Well, takeoff runway 06, Kenya 116, okay. Before takeoff checklist.
Stopwatch. That's pulling. Takeoff.
Check. Thrust right.
Check.
Check the bar set.
Check.
80 knots. Hold.
to 8,500 feet from 340, left turn, right turn tax. 9,000 left, right turn tax, climb 340, Kenya 16. Right turn tax, 9,000.
Standard. That's the key, please.
Standard
88. Check. Flaps up, please. Thank you. Check. And after takeoff, check, please.
Sequence.
Put it to good mount there. And there's another ridge here. Abadeas.
Yes, 65 take level 100, clear ILS approach runway 061022. Report established.
100, inbound, clear ILS approach runway 06, QRH 1022, call established, Kenya 651.
Correct. Rocky 185. Radar from position at 722, morning to you.
Nairobi radar MAF 6.
MAF 6. Good morning. Radar identified. 8.5 miles west number Victor. Climb level 1205. Clear out depart.
Position is confirmed. Climbing is clear. MAF 6.
Just talk to the guest, our cap control, to tell them about the mountain.
I have controls.
Radar 602, out of 7,500, 33.
Our dear esteemed guests, Paul here at the flight deck. For the guest who will wish to see the second highest mountain in Africa, it's Mount Kenya, visible to the right hand side of the aircraft. Below the wing on the left is the Aberdare Mountains, and below the Aberdares is the Great Rift Valley. The two of the lakes are visible, Lake Nakuru and Lake Elementaita. We're now climbing out of 23,000, heading for a cruising altitude of 34,000 feet. Thank you.
I have. You have controls, no change.
Radar Kenya 494 out of level 3474 370, approaching capsule.
F194, Roger. Climb 370, release to Dar 119, cushion 1233.
Climb 370, release to Dar 1233, Kenya 494.
Echo 2, confirm your transponder is on. I'm not receiving you on radar. It's on, sir. What's your altitude now? Passing altitude?
Yeah, my name is Paul Mwangi, and when I'm flying, we are the title of captain. Today I'm the captain of the flight to Amsterdam, KQ116, which departed approximately 24 minutes ago. This is the 777-200, better known as Mount Rongonaut. It has a capacity of 28 in business class and 272 in economy class. This is one of the 4 777-200 that we are about to exit from Kenya Airways, and will be left with the 3 777s-300. Our routing today took us through the Terminal 1, Terminal 1A, which is our new terminal. It has about 7 gates, no-sin parking gates, and several busing gates, and it serves the area to the western side of the airport. Jomo Kenyatta now has several terminals: Terminal 1A, B, C, D, then also Terminal 2, which is next to the tower. Kenya is currently now has moved all its flights to Terminal 1A, which is the state-of-the-art terminal. Apart from the work of flying, I'm in charge of flight operations, the director of flight operations, where I have several divisions reporting to me, the pilots, cabin crew, all the training, operations in terms of flight operations engineering, and also the catering that is offered to our guests on board. I have several managers who are working with me, and the overall population of flight operations in head counts about 1,600 people. We are key to the business because we call ourselves the goalkeepers, because we have the most time with the guests on board. And basically, when guests are annoyed, either as they come to the airport through the terminal building on board, we are the people who turn them around, ensuring that if they were annoyed by any other, if they were annoyed within the process of coming to the airport, we ensure that we don't let the ball go through the goalpost, and that's why we call ourselves the goalkeeper. To ensure that the ball does not get through the goalpost. Today, I have a team of 13 crew. My colleague here at the front, my co-pilot, Bakari Toya, and a team of 12 cabin crew who are with the guests at the back. We expect good weather all the way. Today, we now overflying the northwestern part of Kenya, that is the Rodua. Thereafter, we'll be entering Ethiopian airspace. We'll be flying over Ethiopian airspace for a while before we proceed to Sudan airspace. Thereafter, Egypt, across the Mediterranean, and we'll cross over Eastern Europe before we overfly German, and then thereafter descend into Netherlands, landing at the Schiphol International Airport, Amsterdam. The total time will be approximately 8 hours, and we are cruising at 34,000 feet, and we'll be later on climbing to 38,000 feet when we become a bit lighter. Kenya and Ethiopia.
So now we're in the cruise segment of the flight, just overflying to the southwest of Ethiopia. We'll be shortly crossing over into South Sudan. And The flight is going well so far. We have our cross-check of the flight plan that we input early on ground with the computer flight plan, which is the paper, similar to this. So on this flight management system, we have input the same route which is here, and we have sections which are varied from takeoff to climb, cruise, descent, and approach into Amsterdam Schiphol. This time I was inputting the winds. These winds are cruise level winds, and we get them on our computer flight plan on ground as part of this paperwork. And the importance of these winds is such that we are able to get an accurate performance of the aircraft at cruise level. So on this flight plan you have our cost index, which was 90, and this is based on a few calculations, which is the fuel prices, the crew operating the flight, their costs, and the aircraft performance. So this morning we were given a cost index of 90, which we had input on our performance page as 90, giving us a cruise speed of decimal 834, which is our Mach number. The winds are very important because they give us an accurate calculation of the performance of the aircraft. We can judge our cruise altitude based on the weight of the aircraft and the winds. So this is given here on the cruise page of the flight management computer. We have got optimum altitude, our maximum, and the recommended altitude. So the optimum altitude is based on the weight of the aircraft today, the maximum loading that was loaded today. So that this is the actual altitude that we can fly, is the optimum altitude. And then the maximum altitude is a certified service ceiling at this time based on our performance. So it's the maximum structural altitude that we can climb to for the pressurization and of the weight of the aircraft. And then the recommended altitude is affected by our winds. So this flight management computer calculates the winds, the current winds, which are indicated here on my navigation display. So we've got the wind now coming from 113 degrees at 11 knots. The flight management computer calculates the winds in a range of 250 nautical miles to up to 500 miles, and this gives us a cross-check of what we have here. So we are approaching position Avono, and we expect to position Avono at cruise altitude of 34,000 feet to have a wind of approximately 216 knots, coming at about 18 miles per hour. Right now we've got a lighter wind, which is slightly a tailwind. That is nothing much. So these winds that have been put are very critical to our calculation in terms of the service ceiling of the aircraft based on the weight today, where we can cruise at and how fast we can cruise. And then it also gives us an accurate estimation of the time we expect to land into Amsterdam. So you can see here, since I put in the wind, I've got estimate Amsterdam at 1322 Zulu. This will vary based on also the winds, because that affects our ground speed, which is indicated here also on the ND. That really is the main importance of the winds. And as we go along, we also calculate our fuel. And wind also has a very big factor as to how much fuel we burn, because if you have a stronger headwind, then it means your ground speed is less and you fly longer in the air. Unlike when you have a tailwind, you're flying much faster, so you'll take less time in the air. So winds will affect also how much fuel we burn, and because of the duration that we fly in the air. So it's very important to put this in, then we get an accurate calculation. And as we go along, every 30 minutes to 1 hour, I'll be able to check the fuel quantity that we have and calculate a systematic burn off. So we are able to monitor and see how it goes. Yeah, so here on the progress page, we monitor the current fuel. Our last position was position F6. So once we checked overhead there at 34,000 feet, we crossed it at 0632 Zulu, and we had 52.2 on the fuel. And you can see on my flight plan here, I was estimated based on our takeoff fuel, I expected to be there with 54.8. So I've got about 360 kilos above the fuel that was calculated to, we will have to cross over this point position F6. So as we go along, we'll keep monitoring, and so that we can make a good decision whether we are leaking fuel or maybe we need to uplift more fuel to get us to our destination. But as per the flight plan today, the fuel we have on board is sufficient to take us to our destination and then to an alternate if required. Yeah. All right.
And the alternate today would be?
The alternate today is going to be Charles de Gaulle, which we will set up as we approach into Amsterdam. We require 8 tons of fuel to take us to Charles de Gaulle. And normally for our flights, Kenya Airways flight, we have 2 destination alternates, so we have options we can select from. So as you can see from our flight plan here, we've got Charles de Gaulle as our first alternate and Brussels our second alternate. So normally we get the fuel that is will take us to the farthest alternate, so that even if you can't make it there, then you've got a nearer alternate to make. So this morning we have Charles de Gaulle which is Paris, and Brussels, which is also our alternate. Yeah.
Qatar 1322, able flight level 350 by Emirates, final request is 370.
Roger, Qatar 1322, climb flight level 350.
Climb flight level 350, Qatar 1322.
Okay, this is we're currently at 36,000 feet in the Egyptian airspace, just to the west of Luxor, and we're flying west of Luxor, just approaching a point called Kunak. And in this area there's not much of population. This is quite a dry area, but we've got the River Nile, which flows just to the east of our position currently. So from there we'll just continue further north and exit the landmass, African landmass, at a position called El Daba, a small town, before we cross over the Mediterranean and then enter into Greek airspace of our position Tansa. So this will take us about another 30 or 40 minutes from our present position. Yep. That's basically the map. That's an orientation map. We don't use it for navigation. Every 30 minutes, we're able to do the checks. So most times, once we cross every new FIR, we try and get the fuel at that point as well. So we've now entered over Egyptian airspace of a position Nuba, and so I was a bit late on my check there. So I did overhead Sierra Mike Lima, which is the fuel we required to have over that point was 41.3 tons. So we crossed over with 41.4, which gives us about 100 kilos above. So that means our fuel is quite on the mark, and you're doing okay on the fuel. And also we're able to see the estimate for our destination. The time is improving, but that will change as we talked earlier about the winds. And also you can see there the fuel to arrive with at Amsterdam once we touch down. That's 11.8. So as per our procedures, I've got the legs page on my side, and the captain who is flying this leg, as is on the cruise page. So he's monitoring all those parameters from his side, and that will give him a good view of when to climb and descend based on our performance, inclusive of the winds as we had put in earlier. Otherwise, in terms of fuel, we are doing okay, and we've got quite a strong wind now, just a quartering tailwind, blowing from 223 degrees at about 109 knots, just quartering. So you can see from my primary flight display here, our flight path is marked by this flight path vector, and that gives it, we can see we're off. We're actually a bit weather cocked into the wind. So we've got, our track is to the right and our direction is facing to the left of the nose of the aircraft. Yeah, that's indicated by that. That's because of that strong crosswind, which is a quartering tailwind. Yeah. Thank you.
Cairo, Assalamu alaikum, Kenya 116, level 360.
Kenya 116, wa alaikum salam, radar contact.
116. Cairo, Kenya 116, request climb level 380.
Kenyan 116, Roger, climb level 380.
Leaving 360 for 380, Kenya 116.
Algeria 4065, proceed metro.
That's Metro, Jazeera 4065.
Cairo, assalamu alaikum, Libyan 284. Libyan 284, alaikum salam wa barakatuh, reader contact, Delta Queen Alia flight plan route, level 330, reset code number 3322, 3322.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Friday call here. A quick update on our progress.
Cairo, assalamu alaikum, Baba Eagle Romeo 906, climb through 4000 to 130, request to final 270.
Baba Eagle Romeo 906, alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Continue climb level 270, port over Namvo.
Climb 270, next call Namvo 906.
Now cruising at 38,000 feet, and as we are on the 777-200 series. Kenya also flies the 300 variant. Both are extended range aircrafts. There's quite a bit of differences here and there, and also very many similarities between the two aircrafts. Main difference is also the weight of the aircrafts. The 777-200 maximum takeoff weight of 269 tons, 887 kilos, and the Dash 300 has a maximum takeoff weight of 351 tons, 354 kilos. This also can be seen because of the heavier weight. The engine performance and the engines are also different. On this Dash 200 series, we have the Rolls-Royce Trent 892 engines, which are rated at 90 pounds of thrust. And for Kenya specification, they've got a bump or an increase of about 2 pounds of thrust. Sorry. On the 777-300 series, we fly it with the General Electric engines, which are GE90 at 115 pounds of thrust. Yeah. And apart from that, the displays are quite similar. The position of the switches are quite similar as well. The flight deck basically is similar to the 300 in comparison to the 200.
The only difference is that we have cameras.
Yeah, so
we have cameras in the Dash
300 series.
And the cameras are very important, specifically due to the length of the aircraft. And you have a view of the main tires to ensure that you don't get off the paved services as you tax the aircraft within the airport. And also it's bigger. Of course, carries 400 for Kenya's conversion type of for Kenya's specification. We have about 400 seats. Again, 28 in the business class and 372 in the economy.
Yep. The difference also is the type of main gear that we have on the 777-300 series. Slightly different from the gear that you have here. This one on the Dash 300 is semi-levered gear, which assists in the takeoff performance. It gives you about 1.1 degrees of angle of attack on the takeoff, and this allows us to carry heavier weights as compared to the 200 series, and also the performance on the field length for takeoff is also improved. So we have a shorter takeoff run performance and also heavier weight on the Dash 300 as compared to the 200 series. Yep.
This is another small difference on the clock. The clock for the Dash 300 is digital, which is actually part of the PFD, and it sets its own off chokes or blocks, and also when the aircraft is airborne, when it touches down again, and also when it parks. So this is the work for the setting of the clock at takeoff and also on landing, making it much easier.
True. Also, in terms of our displays, as the captain mentioned, we have on the 300 series is quite integrated on the primary flight display. We have the lateral navigation and vertical navigation displayed at all times for the pilots, and for the approach and descent that converts into the instrument landing system displays. Whereas here we have to check our required navigation performance from our flight management computer. On the 300 series is displayed on our primary flight display, so which is quite easy because it's very good for the pilot area of viewing. So instead of using the flight management computers, CDU displays, you're able to just pick that off the primary flight displays. And also it gives you a warning in case you have deviated from your altitude and as you approach towards your level altitude or descending altitude.
If you remember when we were starting the engines earlier, when we were mentioning to you the parameters, what we are looking at, we were using what is called the auto start. And in this aircraft Dash 200, because the engines are slightly smaller in size in terms of thrust, we start them together at the same time. Auto start for both engines. However, for the 777-300, the engines are massive, and the air coming from the APU is not strong enough to rotate the two engines to start simultaneously. So we start one engine at a time. It takes a little bit longer for it to be started. This is much faster, of course, because they start together, and that will reduce the time by half.
Okay. I guess on the physical appearance of the aircraft, we have an extra door on the 300 series. So here, as you can see from this display here, these are our doors. On the 300 series, we've got an extra door.
Another door here.
Right in the middle, which makes it 5 doors on each side of the aircraft.
And that, of course, has an impact on the crew, cabin crew. For this one, the minimum cabin crew is 1 per door. We have about 8 cabin crew. However, in the Dash 300, since that now we have 10 doors, the minimum is actually 10. However, we add another 2 to enhance on the service delivery for our guests.
True.
Any other thing peculiar about this carry, and that's why you find it's easier to move from one aircraft to another, because the differences are very minor. So you can fly one northbound, fly the other one southbound, which is the same concept Boeing have initiated or approved for the 787 and the 777. So that is dual rating. All what you have to do is to ensure that you are current when you do your simulator. Alternatively, you do a simulator every 6 months in the other aircraft. For Kenya Airways, since we may be phasing out the 777, we have opted to leave them separate for the time being. If things change, then we may adapt the same way of having the dual rating for the 777 and the 787.
Yeah. And suppose also operationally, because of the heavier weights on the Dash 300 series, this flight operational speeds for the flap limits are quite different as well. So you can see here we have the flap limit restrictions for the speeds, which are also similar position for the 300 but higher than the 200 series. This is obviously due to the heavier mass that we are flying on the 300 series compared to the 200. Yeah.
And of course, also the fuel it carries more fuel than this.
Yeah.
The tanks are bigger, so total is what?
It's 145, 500 tons.
145. This is 137.
This is 137, 500 tons. Yes,
so
about
the difference of about 9. How many tons?
Yeah, about 8 tons.
Eight.
About
8 tons.
Yeah. So that one has about 31, 300 on the mains, and about 89, 600 on kilos on the center tanks. Yeah. Then also in the dumping of the fuel, in case we have to dump our fuel on the 200 series, they do that wing tanks. Yeah. The wing tanks is where the jettisons pumps are. So on the 300 series, you're able to discharge the fuel from also the center tank, based on the center of gravity limits. So that enhances it, the jettison speed as compared to the 200, although the rate is similar in terms of how much fuel is taken out per minute. Yeah, well, that's also quite a big difference. Yeah. Anything else?
I think basically.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Yeah. Oh, we have overhead crew rests on the 300 series.
Yeah, we have. Because this is a long-range aircraft.
Yeah.
It can fly the Dash 300 can fly up to 18 hours. So for the airline to make use of that capability, you have crew rests, overhead crew rest for both cabin crew and cockpit crew. The cockpit crew is just next to the galley, the front galley upstairs, 2 bunkers plus two seats, and the cabin crew we have 6 bunkers at the back, right at the back, at the rear of the aircraft in the roof. Quite accessible through a stairway that is secured by a door. You may actually not know that there is any crew rest upstairs, with a code that only the crew know, and they can be able to change as need arises.
Yeah, and I guess that's it in terms of size. Yeah, yeah. So the wingspan is also longer on the 300 compared to this, and you've got a rect wing which is slightly different from what we have here on the 200 series. So it's quite a point which you can identify the aircraft with, as the number of doors on the aircraft side and the rect wing.
That's the gear.
Yeah.
Lever.
Yeah, the semi-levered landing gear. Yeah. And that's it for main differences of the 777-300 to the 200 series.
As I had indicated earlier, what I'm doing now in Kenya is, it's a long story, because for me to be where I am now, it started many years back. My background is quite humble. I was born in the rural area meaning the slopes of Mount Kenya, where there was a lot scarcity in very many things. The schools were not many. Food was a problem even as I grew up, because we could hardly have 3 meals in a day. So I did my primary school education, and all that time my dream of flying came to me when I was very young, at about maybe 10 years or so, because I used to see aircraft flying over my homestead from the Nanyuki going to the Masai Mara, one of the known game reserves in Kenya. So anytime I saw an aircraft flying, I would feel this thrill in me, and I would always say one day I will actually fly an aircraft. My mother used to tell me I'm dreaming, because we didn't have enough money for us to do to cover our education, leave alone having 3 meals in a day. So I did my training, and eventually I passed my entry into high school exam, and I went to a very good school, one of the best schools in Kenya, Alliance High School, where I was there for approximately 4 years before I did my O-levels. At that time, I was very keen to go flying, so I went to the Air Force and I did the interviews. I was accepted to be a cadet, Air Force cadet pilot, to start my training. However, when I went home with the good news, my mother could not take any of it, because apparently I'm referring to my mother a lot, because my mother was instrumental in our growing up, because our father was working away from home, and he could come maybe once a month, or sometimes even once every 2 months, because of the call of his duty. So my mother built my character, and I would always refer to my mother in a lot of things. So at this time, when I went to ask for permission to go to the Air Force, my mother said, no, you can't, because he believed you go to the Air Force and die, because of course, the conflicts that are normally are there as pilots go out, or the officers go out to fight. So I didn't argue with her. She told me the time will come when God will provide for you the money to fly. So I went back to Alliance High School and did my A-levels. Thereafter, I went back again and told the Air Force, now maybe let me try again. And of course they told me, since I had passed very well last time, I could go back and join them. Again, my mother could not hear of it. So eventually I was forced to go to the university. At the university, I was enrolled for mechanical engineering. And now, during that time of the first semester, before I went to start the first semester, I was called for interview. Before I left high school, there was an advert in the newspapers, local newspapers in Kenya. there was one of the key rich businessmen who was also a politician, Bruce Mackenzie. And for those of you who know the history of Kenya, after independence, he was the only minister, white minister, that was retained in the government by our first president, Jomo Kenyatta. So he had a lot of money. He had many companies, CMC Aviation, CMC Holdings, and in his will, he had indicated that when he passes on, he would like some of the monies that he has in his companies to be used to train one Kenyan pilot and one Kenyan engineer. And this was now being implemented by the trustees who had been left to execute his will. So that advert was put in the papers, and I applied, and I forgot about it. So just before I was admitted to the university, the interviews were called for, and I was the pilot who was selected after that rigorous interview that took about almost 1 week, and I was enrolled to start training on a free bursary for PPL, CPL, without any strings attached to it. After I finished, I go ahead and do whatever I wanted to do, and that's how I was able to get my license, because I trained in Kenya, and then of course the same bursary took me to the US, Texas, where I got my CPL, and then I came back and worked for the Civil Aviation Authority for approximately 1 year or so, before again the Civil Aviation Authority took me to Oxford to do my senior license, air transport pilot's license. However, when I came back, that's the time now I also got into Kenya Airways. That was 1984. So looking back, my dream, of course, came to pass. And again, the teaching here is it's important also to listen to your parents, because my mother's prayers for me, I think, were aligned to God's plan, because I did not go against what she was praying for. So of course I joined Kenya Airways as a small boy, just about 23 years of age, and I joined in as a cadet in the Fokker 27. I flew the Fokker 27 as a co-pilot from 1984 to 1986, when I did a dramatic jump from an old aircraft to the Airbus A310 as a co-pilot. I didn't stay very long in the Airbus as a co-pilot for approximately 1.5 years. Then I was promoted to become a captain, because I already had a senior license, which I acquired at the Oxford Flying School in UK. Of course, I came back and flew the Fokker 27, the Fokker 50 as a captain. Then I went off to the 737, -200, -300. Thereafter, Airbus as a captain, 767, and now, of course, I fly the 777, both the 200 and the 300. However, I felt I needed to do more beyond just flying. It became a little bit boring, flying point A to point B, back again to base, to the hotels. So I wanted to do a little bit more, and I applied for a management post. That is 1998, and I was called in for interview, and I was the first quality manager in Kenya Airways. That was 1998 to 2000. Thereafter, I went over to become the manager of the fleet Airbus A310, the 767, which I did for about 3 years. And thereafter is when we got the previous CEO, Titus Naikuni, who just left about 1 year last year. When he joined Kenya Airways, he abolished all the positions of managers. So we had all of us to reapply again. And I reapplied, and this time I got a higher job. Basically, I became the chief pilot, in charge of all the pilots' operations, etc. That I did for approximately 3 years. And then there was a vacancy at the head of operations control center, which of course I moved over after an interview that for me, I really wanted to know more about airlines, so I needed to work in different places. Before then, of course, I was an instructor, flying and training in all the fleets that I was flying in as a captain. But I wanted to diversify my knowledge about the company. So at Operations Control Center, I was there for approximately 1 year, 1.5 years, and I was instrumental in setting up the new OCC that we have now. The modern OCC, state of the art with a lot of equipment and a new setup that all the teams that work in that area, the operation control officers, the dispatchers, hub control center, maintenance engineers, etc., are working harmoniously, each of them getting information from the other in a semicircle setup. After 1.5 years, of course, luck came my way, and I was called to act as the director of flight operations because the previous incumbent had left the company. I acted for about 2 months, and of course I was called in for interview plus other contestants. And luckily, I was not a very good actor. I didn't act for very long. I got the job as a director of flight operations, which I've been now from 2007 to where I am now, after about almost 8 years now in this role. What I do, as I said earlier, is quite comprehensive, because as a director of flight operations, I have about 7 heads or managers, senior managers who report to me. The one head of cabin crew, in-flight services, the chief pilot, head of training, the manager in charge of flight operations engineering. I also have the catering manager, a head of catering, who also reports to me. And I also have a business performance manager who handles all the operations in flight operations, and also the technical pilot who oversees any issues that change or configuration of aircraft, and new requirement may be wanted by the regulator to be worked upon for the teams to be able to know. Like today, we talked about the differences between the 777-200 and the 300. He was to work out and convince the regulator that basically they're the same aircraft and our crew can fly without having to do any specific separate type rating. So that's what I've been doing for the last 8 years, but I also do a little bit more. I lecture at the university, Moi University. There's a program, executive MBA, that is run by Moi University. At that time, because of my experience in various areas of operations, which I've narrated earlier, plus also I went ahead and finished my degree when I was doing my usual transition from aircraft to aircraft. I also did my a master's in airline transport management, several diplomas, program from management development. So I've got quite an academic qualifications, which enabled me now to be called upon to do lecturing at the University of Nairobi. So I teach a lot of students, some of them working for Kenya Airways, others for other companies, and it's very fulfilling for me to share my knowledge, which I've acquired over the years, with these young pilots who want to grow their careers. My case may be said it's a one-off, my scholarship. However, we've introduced almost the same in Kenya Airways, because even my co-pilot here, Bakari Toya, was a beneficiary of what Kenya Airways introduced, because we found out that we were fishing in very shallow waters, trying to get pilots from the civil aviation, general civil aviation, from the Air Force, but that port was drying out. So we decided to start a program to have an in-house scholarship for the bright students who are able to pass our interview, a rigorous interview. They would be enrolled, and then we'll take them for training, and then they'll pay back the money once they qualified. We did that for a few years, trained quite a number, more than 100, 150 cadets. Then we realized we are spending a lot of money from our kitty, so we approached a bank in Kenya, one of our senior banks in Kenya, and they agreed to partner with us, whereby they provide the money, and we guarantee that the students would pay back through a check-off system once they check out. So out of that, we've paid more than another 100 or so, and it is very beneficial because we get the top cream in the business, in high schools, universities, and they have turned out to be very, very energetic, very clever young chaps who are able to come and also provide knowledge by becoming instructors and also grow in management. The current, we have about 2 or 3 managers who went through the program of ab initio, and they are now growing in the company. And this helps us in succession planning, because I have been flying for the last 35 years, and of course, in another maybe less than 10 years, I'll be leaving. So it's important for us to have these young tax coming in to replace us, so that we don't leave any vacuum as we move over to retirement. So basically, we have a pipeline, and it's still on now. The ab initio. We also recruit a few from the general aviation to mix the two, and this has helped us a lot to ensure that the co-pilot line is taken care of. And once, of course, they get experience, 3,000 hours, they get a senior license, they move over to the left seat, and the entry point is normally the Embraer E-Jet, and also the 737 NG. Any of that, depending on how the requirement of the growth of the airline, that is the starting point for the co-pilots coming in for command. We also have a simulator in one of our training institutions called the Pride Center. We have an NG simulator which we use to train our pilots in the 737, both transitional and also recurrent. We are currently looking for an Embraer simulator, which also helps us in cutting cost, because when you train in-house, it's more efficient, and you are able to raise your standards because you are using your own equipment, which you are not at the mercy of that party who's providing the slots for you. The other thing I would also like to share is we had a small problem initially in terms of getting commanders, and we had to hire a few expatriates as a stopgap who helped us flying the E-Jet. But now we have stabilized, and we are releasing the expatriates because our pipeline for providing captains is quite pressurized now, because we have quite a number of young, efficient, well-trained co-pilots. And my colleague here, my co-pilot Toya, is due to come down for command in the E-Jet shortly, among others. Thank you.
Down Visa 7 Delta Uniform Zagreb radar identified, direct to Webal.
Direct Webal, voila, Visa 7 Delta Uniform.
Zagreb, good day. Arca Flight 280, flight level 360 on Takeoff.
Arca Flight 280, Zagreb radar, dobar dan, identified.
Dobar dan.
With a 7 Delta uniform on Budapest, request after Webal direct Tegri.
After Weber direct taxi, Wala with the 7 Delta uniform.
Morning. Austrian 745 Romeo, contact to Zagreb 135.8.
35.8 Austrian 745 Romeo, do widzenia.
Do widzenia. Qatari 218, contact Beograd 125925.
125925, what Qatari 218.
Morning work.
Fine, all contact November 380, direct call pass.
With my colleague, my co-pilot, we would like to take a few minutes just to explain to you the instrumentation and roughly what each of them does to assist us conduct the flight. Of course, we can't explain everything because all this is covered by big manuals. So we just give a global overview of what each of these items do. And I think we can start here right at the middle. The thrust levers, for each of the engine, equivalent to the accelerators we have in a car. Then behind it, we have the reverse thrust. The reverse thrust is the opposite of the forward thrust. When we land, we use the reverse thrust to slow down the aircraft to the speed that you can be able to get off the runway. Then we have another lever here called a speed brake. This is the lever that we use in the air when we want to deploy the spoilers to enable the aircraft to slow down and also increase the rate of descent. These are pitch trims which can be used when you revert to manual trimming of the aircraft. And the two knobs here, they are quite small but very critical. They are locked down here, as you can see. These are the fuel control units for shutting down and introducing fuel when we are starting the engines. Then below we got the fire extinguishers. These control, each of them controls two bottles in the engine, fire extinguisher bottles. If you have a fire in the engine, a warning will come here. This knob will turn red. We'll silence it and then we'll fire one bottle. Let's see, bottle 1, bottle 2. After that seconds, if the fire has not gone off, we fire the second bottle. And of course, after that, if the fire is not extinguished, we land as soon as possible. The same thing for engine number 2. Other is down here. All these are the radio communication. We got 3 of them. 1, 2, and also the backup here, number 3. Yeah. This is a CDU, control device unit, and this is the same as the one that we have here, which is also a backup for any failures in the others as well. And we also do telephone, satellite telephone here, communicating to the crew in specific positions in the cabin. And here, of course, we have the intercom. We use it for addressing the crew at the various positions and also addressing the guests, the passengers on board the aircraft. Maybe you can say something about the control column.
Okay, basically the 777 controls are similar on the right and left side, with a few additions on the left side, which is the captain's side. This side, from the right here, we've got a few controls for the heaters. We've got a shoulder heater and a foot heater. And then we have the forward panel brightness, which controls the lighting on the first officer's side. As you come forward, I've got some switches here, which control the navigation, display control, and air data sources. Once you push those, then we'll be going to alternate sources for navigation, displays, or the air data. Here is just a normal clock, which is set to GMT, which is the Greenwich Mean Time, or UTC, Universal Coordinated Time. And the main display on the right side is the primary flight display, which has basically integrated information, which you can easily spot at a glance. They've got the airspeed indicator at the top, and these annunciations, or as we call them, the flight mode annunciators, indicate the position of our autopilot or the systems basically that control the aircraft. So as you can see here, this is the auto throttle area, this is the lateral navigation, VNAV, which is vertical navigation, and this is the autopilot mode. And then on the right here, we've got the pre-selected altitude, which is 38,000 feet, and which is what you're also flying, 38,000 feet. And at the center here, we've got flight directors, which give us guidance for lateral and vertical navigation. And then the small dot there is the flight path vector. And we also have our altitude, which is they call the QNH. It indicates the altitude that we are flying at. This time we are on standard, which is the mode of flying above the transition level, the transition altitude, sorry. On the left here, we've got the Mach number, the actual Mach number that is flying, and the top is the commanded Mach number from the flight management computer. And then lower here, we've got a compass rose, which is half, and it also displays our heading in terms of, we've got a heading and magnetic is also displayed on our navigation display, which is on the left. And this time, since you are flying over high terrain, I've had my side on terrain display from our weather radar, and the captain has his on the weather. Basically here we've got a selection which is done from the AFIS up here, which is the electronic flight instrument system, and this controls the displays down here. On the right we've got VORs left and right, and also GPS. On this aircraft we've got 2 GPSs, which also work as a backup for our ADIRU, which is the Air Data National Reference Unit. Displays here on the left, we've got TFC, you can spot that, that's the traffic, and that comes from our transponder selection this time, which is down here, and that gives us the position of any aircraft around ourselves. As you can see, these dots are just other traffic, and it's indicated by a small diamond with an altitude deviation, either minus or plus above and minus below. And then as we continue left, we've got the EGPWS controls here, which is a few things which control the flap, gear, and the terrain positions. These are detections from the enhanced ground proximity warning system. This gives us a situation awareness in terms of where we are and our configuration of the aircraft as we descend to an airport or take off from an airport. Then here we've got alternate gear, which in case we are unable to extend our gear through the normal system, then we have that as a backup. The 777 has quite a lot of redundancies, and all these displays can be transferred to either one of these just by a flick of a switch, or an auto system, which will do it in case one fails from there. And down here, as indicated earlier, is just the auto brake system, and we'll be using this for landing. This time around, we'll be setting either from 1 to a maximum of max auto, which is equal to maximum manual braking. And then at the center display there, we've got the ACAS system, which is engine indicating and crew alerting system. This gives us all the information that we are unable to detect by physically looking at our instruments. So the computers bring up the information up there, and we're able to cross-check and confirm that that is the same situation that we have. And then the lower display, which we keep blank most of the time, is used for checklists or any other reason that we like here. So this is an ECL, which is an electronic checklist. This point, since you are in cruise, our next checklist will be the descent checklist, and we shall go through that once just before we commence our descent. It has quite a variety of things here. So this is the normal menu, and it allows all the other checklists that are there. So we went through the pre-flight, before start, after start, before takeoff, after takeoff, and now our next step will be descent approach, and then once we land, will be landing checklist, and then secure checklist. On the right here, we've got the non-normal checklists. These we only use in case of any malfunctions. The aircraft is quite automated to an extent that you'll be able to bring the checklist up here for us to read and do. Otherwise, some of them we have to use our crew resource management here to be able to identify our malfunctions and continue. And this is the display select panel here at the top, and this area is called the mode control panel. So we've got the FIS on the right and on the left. And this is similar from the pilot side, first officers and the captains. And then the center here, we've got the display select panel. And in this case here, we've got quite a number of things, our systems, which can be selected and displayed on our lower DU here. So we've got electrical systems, hydraulic, fuel, air, doors, and the gear, and then flight control system, then checklist and navigation. So we can use this lower DU as a backup for our navigation displays or any other thing that we'd like to use in case of any malfunction. And apart from that, that's on the captain's side, which you have the ISFD.
That is the same.
Yeah, similar from there. Yeah.
However, we have a very vital.
400 checks. To go. Transfer final speed checks.
The duplication of that is the same as here, basically, so that the pilot flying can concentrate on flying. The other one is monitoring from his side. And of course, this aircraft is flown, as you've seen through the video. It's controlled on the MCP, mode control panel, as my colleague has explained. So whatever input, like now, we're just climbing to 40,000 feet. I dialed here, initiated by pressing the knob, and the information came here on the FMA and actuator panel, and then the aircraft added power through the thrust reverse and they moved to the level now. 30,500 now going for the 40,000 feet forever 400. But a very important standby instrument here, artificial horizon, which has the importance about this. If everything fails, it has special battery for 150 minutes, 150 minutes of power. So you can actually fly with this. It gives you the horizon, that is the altitude, the speed, the altitude, the heading, and also gives you the and then the approach as well. You can get the ILS indicator there. So that alone, so long as the power, you have the power, you can actually fly when everything else fails. Then of course, all these up here are the various systems. Various systems that are normally displayed here. For example, electrical system. You can see this electrical system here. The diagram indicating the various sources of power and how the power flows from various sources. And the same duplicated here. We've got secondary power, external power, primary external power, and the generators, which are here as well. So if there's a problem here, this system will be called and it will show us exactly where the discontinuity on the power flow from either from the generators, the main buses, transfer buses, or the generator, where the issue is, and then we can follow the checklist to that effect. And of course the same goes for the hydraulic system, which is here. Then we got the fuel system, this hydraulic system, and then the fuel system, which is there and here. Then you got the Bridia system. The Bridia system, which again is here, gives you the various zones of the cabin and the temperatures, what you have set as a target and what is actually the temperature in the cabin. So you set 23, and the magenta is what has been set, and what has been achieved is what is next to it in white. And the same continues with the air conditioning. That air again goes there, and then that air now goes through the air conditioning packs, modulated, defined, and then is fed into the cabin. Then another one that we can look at is the gear. These are the 8. Are they 8? The 12. The 12 tires of this aircraft. The 2 nose wheel tires at the front, giving us the pressure, PSI, and each of the main tires, each bogie on the left side has got 6 tires, and the right one has got 6 tires. And that's the temperature, that's the pressure in between. And then on the left is the temperature. Now that they are quite cold, and that's why you can see a 0 indication on the temperature in Celsius. Of course, that's what controls the gear, that gear, or this small lever here. Take it up, the gears go up. Bring it down, the gear goes down. Then the other item that we can look at the flight controls. Yeah, that is the flight controls, which indicates the position of the controls. As I talked earlier about the speed brake, this lever controls these panels, the spoilers, and when it's lifted, they'll move up to assist the aircraft in slowing down and also increasing rate of descent. Then there is the aileron, which helps us in turning the aircraft, that one, and is assisted by the tail plane here, which is so the rudder, it's represented by the rudder for turning. For example, when you have an engine failure, the rudder comes in through this switch, asymmetry, thrust asymmetry compensator, which adds power to the engine, which is working, and then compensate the yaw to ensure that we are able to fly on a straight and longitudinal manner without losing control of the aircraft. What else?
I think so far.
This was the switch for fighting, for extinguishing fire in the APU. Just like the 2 ones we had here on the engine. Let's put the test.
Yeah.
Let's push it up test. Yeah. This one doesn't come on, eh?
Yeah.
No, they don't come on. Okay.
And fly.
Yeah. What else can we explain? I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
We did the FMS earlier, did we?
Yeah, the AFB.
Yeah, you explained, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did that quite well.
Yeah.
So we've got similar electronic flight bags on the right, on the left, and this is where all our information is input. Our books, in case you need to refer to them. So they try to make the 777 a paperless flight deck as much as possible. Although we have emergency backup books at the back, which are held in an enclosed flight bag. We only open it in case of an emergency, and we lose our electronic flight bags. The electronic flight bags includes quite a number of options, as we talked about earlier. And these are all the company documents that we require for this flight, and also the dispatch paperwork from our civil aviation in Kenya. Otherwise, we got a section which is the pilot utilities, and this is just a brief calculation if you require it for speed, length, weight, temperature conversion, volume, or time zones if you need be. There's also a similar difference on the 300 is that we have a camera which you're able to see from the cabin, and that also comes onto this electronic flight bag. Yeah. And that's it basically on the 777. Yeah.
Flying control, UT 4352, maintaining 380.
Line
Radar Kenya 116, level 400, direct to Mapox.
Kenya 116, identified, G'day.
G'day.
We commence our brief now. We have approximately 29 minutes before we commence our descent. And a descent, estimated time of descent is 12590, about 202 and 205 nautical miles. The weather we have is good for a category 1 landing. Visibility and cloud base from the previous weather we got was okay.
Check.
And on the NOTAM, there's nothing on Amsterdam that is serious enough apart from the change of operating minimum.
Yeah.
Just in case it will increase by 217. And for category 2 and 3 does not apply to us because we are certified category 1.
Checks.
Okay, the status of the aircraft, okay, and there's nothing in ADD I can recall that will prevent us from executing approach.
Yep.
So first I'll start backwards from runway 18 right. Look at the chart, the apron chart, runway 18 right. If we land, because that normally is the main runway they give. 18 right will exit either via Victor 1 or Victor 2, and then we proceed on Victor. Whiskey 5, we cruise runway 18 center. Then we proceed on Alpha all the way to Alpha. We join Alpha 21. We taxi on Alpha. All the way to the Foxtrot stance, which we normally park either the odd ones or the even ones.
Checks. Yeah? Understood.
Okay. And then let's go now to the star. The arrival star, that is the Noku. The chart is 10-2, varied from 1st June 12. 80s, we will get that on 1084. Transitional altitude is 3000, transitional level by ATC, which will be set there for you.
Checks.
MSA, we're looking at within 25 nautical miles of the airfield. The highest is at southeast sector, 2,300 feet, and then all the other sectors 1,700.
Check.
Our routing is via Noku, and there is a restriction at Noku, whereby we should be between flight level 280 and 200, speed of 260 to 280 knots. So we're looking at the higher speed of our 280 knots, and then we proceed to the other point of our speed limit, that is Atif 250 knots between flight level 70 and below flight level 100.
Checks.
From there, we'll get the vectors, position ourselves on the appropriate runway. Yes, we have planned for runway 18 right. If it changes, then we'll proceed accordingly. There's another speed limit of 15 nautical miles, 15 DME, a speed of 220 knots.
Check.
And I would request us to proceed to runway 18 right chart. That is chart 11-4, 2nd December 11. And again, the MSA remains the same. The ILS frequency for that runway is 110.1, course of 183.
Checks.
Which is appropriate to what is on the chart. So again, we'll proceed on the approach, and the altitude at which we'll be intercepting the ILS is 2,000 feet.
Check.
And on the ILS, we'll continue and descend to the decision of category 1, which is 187.
And that's set right.
187 setting on my side. And for NDBs, for that approach, we don't have any appropriate NDB. Do we have any?
No,
I don't think we have any. 187. Set on my side.
Cross check.
And
cross check. Set on right.
For missed approach, we have a very a missed approach. We turn right as soon as practicable and intercept radio 280, which is here.
Yeah.
280. And do not overshoot radio 240, Sierra Papa Lima. And then we climb to 2000.
Checks.
Yeah?
Yep.
We cross Echo Hotel 624 at 2000, and then we inform ATC immediately.
Check.
However, in case you're not able to land for any reason, you initiate the go around procedure. I'll hit the go levers, rotate to go around the pitch, simultaneously flap 20, positive rate of climb, 400 feet LNAV, 1,000 feet, we bag up, open window to about 220, 230, and then we accelerate, and then we follow the ATC instructions.
Gotcha.
However, if anything happens and you have to divert, which is unlikely because you've got 6 runways here in Amsterdam, we're planning for Charles de Gaulle, which is on route number 2. Yeah?
Yep.
And we require about 8 tons.
Correct.
8 tons of fuel.
Yep.
And we are landing with adequate fuel, about 10.7, more than adequate for the diversion.
Checks.
So we can quickly do the VREF for the approach.
Okay.
We're landing 10.7.
10.7.
Zero fuel weight.
Yep. And now
Which
it's
is,
3.3 now.
Yeah.
Difference in fuel is 3.3 tons. It's now 14 and expect to land at 10.7.
Yeah.
So that's 3.3 tons. And that will be 190 decimal 8.
We do it the opposite. I mean,
identified, hello.
I do only one.
Okay.
I just add
the zero.
The final fuel to that.
Okay.
The same
Easier,
thing.
yeah.
So that gives a VREF of 132, eh?
Yeah. So 132 set, flaps 30.
Call these guys fast.
Radar Kenya 116, level 400, direct Mapox. Kenya 116, identified. Hello.
Okay, 132 set.
132 cross check.
Then you go the station height 187.
Yeah.
We don't have an ADF, so the VOR will remain.
Yeah.
And we'll try to see whether we can get the weather.
Previous was 1016 initially.
That's the old one.
Yeah, that's the old one. I'll try and get an updated version of it.
Yeah, just a new one.
Shuttle 3655 Lima, contact Maastricht 131.380.
Maastricht 131.380, goodbye, not shuttle 3655 Lima.
I'm just changing this, eh?
Yeah, okay.
To 0.84, eh?
Checks.
Execute.
Execute. There we go.
Shuttle 5 Victor Delta, hello, identified.
Okay, 18 right, yeah.
It is Alpha.
Function level is 40. 040 set.
Again, 18 right, eh?
Yeah,
That's
18 right.
That's the main.
Okay, I'll print that out.
Yeah, temperature 14, eh?
Yeah.
1017.
1017, set and standby.
Yeah.
Shuttle 5 Victor Delta, continue and heading north.
Okay.
Any question, anything that you may have wanted to add to this?
No.
The rubber brake could be used to replace thanks.
And yep, I understood. I have no questions or additions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flight deck, your Captain Paul. I do hope you've enjoyed our flight so far from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to approximately where we are now, about 290 kilometers to the southeast of Schiphol Airport. We'll be commencing our descent in the next 4 minutes. Our plane will be landing at 35 minutes after 3:35 p.m. And other aircraft permitting, we should be at our gate slightly ahead of schedule by approximately 10 minutes. The weather on ground Schiphol, almost sky clear, temperature given as 15 degrees Celsius. It's my sincere hope that you've enjoyed flying with us. I want to take this opportunity to thank each of you for giving us your business. Wishing you all the best as you continue supporting Kenya Airways. Enjoy your stay in Netherlands. For the guests on transit, please have a safe journey to your final destination. Thank you and have a very pleasant evening.
Kenya 116, descent flight level 280, rate of descent 2000 or more, please.
Descent level 280, rate of descent 2000 or more, Kenya 116.
2000 or more.
Oscar Bravo Sierra, contact Maastricht on 133.955. Kilo 427, Maastricht below identified. I'll call you back for further climb.
We'll go.
Current on 401, leaving 360 now for 260.
Roger.
He said. He didn't say yeah, so he didn't. He said when he just said when he gives us.
Yeah, monitor the speed there. And come back down.
Amsterdam, Kenya 116, out of 2906 for 260, 2,500 feet or more.
Kenya 116, Katir to RTP, runway 18 center, speed 300 knots, please.
Roger, direct tip 18 center, 300 knots, Kenya 116.
Okay, can change it to center.
18 center via RTIP, legs direct to RTIP.
Yep.
And bound.
That gives a decision of 188.
Kenya 116, turn right 10 degrees and maintain level 260 for reaching.
Roger, turn right 10 degrees and maintain 260 on reaching Kenya 116.
Correct 401, fly direct to Sierra Papa Yankee.
Select 309.
401.
One 180 knots there. Okay, I'll execute that.
Kenya 116, descent flight level 230.
Descent level 230, Kenya 116. Descent flight level 220, Kenya 116.
20 set.
220 checks.
Flight level 200, Kenya 116.
200.
401, descent flight level 100.
Descend 100, correct.
Kenya 116, turn left heading 290.
Left heading 290, Kenya 116.
290 checks.
290.
Checks.
Two niners.
Check.
So we can use whiskey 6 or whiskey 7, eh?
Out of 18 center.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kenya 116, descent flight level 150.
Descent level 150, Kenya 116.
50 set.
150 checks.
Flight level change speed.
Transfer level change speed.
Kenya 116, correct, flight level 70, speed 250.
Copy, 70 speed
Kenya 1.
KLM 96 Lima, descent level 100, start at 2 Spijkerborg. First Kenya 116, speed correction, contact approach 119050.
Approach 119050, Kenya 116. Right.
KLM 30 Yankee Schiphol approach 119050.
Present heading 119050, KLM 30 Yankee.
KLM 96 Lima, descent level 80.
Descent level 8.
Approach Grey Kenya 116, speed 250, descending 70, direct Sierra Papa Yankee.
Kenya 116, turn right, heading 280, vector silent, runway 18 center, information Foxtrot.
I-280, information Foxtrot, Kenya 11618 center.
Two?
Hello, KLM 30 Yankee.
KLM 30 Yankee, hello, after RTIP heading 285, vector silent, runway 18 center, information Foxtrot.
After RTIP heading 285 degrees, ILS 18 center, weather Fox, KLM 30 Yankee.
KLM 82 Mike, descent level 40, contact arrival 131.150.
Down to level 40 and 131.150, KLM 82 Mike. KLM 18 Charlie. Okay, Fox 3 Echo 7000, inbound river 189.
Kenya 116, descent level 60, contact arrival 131.150.
Descent 60, 131, 150, Kenya 106 by.
KLM 30 Yankee, reduce speed 220 knots, descent level 60, contact arrival 13.
Arrivals Kenya 116, descending level 60 out of 83 now.
Kenya 116, heading 290.
Right, heading 290, Kenya 116.
90.
Arrival, hello, KLM 30 Yankee.
Monitoring left. Complete, thanks.
KLM 82 Mike, you see Fokker 70, 12 o'clock, right, left, 4 miles below.
Inside, KLM 82 Mike.
Very good, that's the one to follow, sir. Descend for you to 3,000 feet now on 1018.
3000 unit 1018, KLM 82 Mike.
We're on 401, descend level 40.
Go ahead, descending 40, Grandon 40.
Kenya 116, descend level 40.
Then level 40, Kenya 116.
40 set.
KLM 1756, heading 215, localizer.
Left heading 215, good, set the localizer, KLM 1756.
KLM 30 Yankee, descend 40.
Descent 40, KLM 30 Yankee.
Yeah.
Brandon 401, heading 270.
Heading 270, Brandon 401.
KLM 82 Mike, left heading 270.
Left heading 270, KLM 82 Mike.
It's quite busy today, yeah?
KLM 82 Mike, left heading 220, intercept the localizer.
2 to go.
Left heading 220, localizer 180, KLM 82 Mike.
KLM 1756, tower 1181, 3.
1181, Putin, KLM 1756.
Kenya 116, descend to 3000, 1018.
Then 3000, 1018, Kenya 116.
And 30 Yankee, heading 275.
1018.
1018 checks. Out of 5,700 checks.
Kenya 116, heading 275.
Left heading 275, Kenya 116.
275 set.
275
Yankee,
checks.
just for your information, you're trailing at 777.
Center line.
Roger.
30 Yankee, yeah, we your head. KLM 82 Mike, service localizer.
Center line
82 Mike, 3 on the ground, clear approach.
You've seen the guy clear approach, KLM 82 Mike.
Two to go.
Check.
KLM 82 Mike, call 181, number 3.
81 to 8, KLM 82 Mike.
KLM 30 Yankee, down to 3000, 1018.
3000, 1018, KLM 30 Yankee.
Brandon end on 401 heading 220, intercept the localizer.
Heading 220, for the localizer confirm, 401?
Yes sir, only the localizer please. Maintain 3000, intercept the localizer.
On to go.
96 Lima down to 3000, 1018.
3000 feet, 1018, KLM 96 Lima.
Go flap 1.
Let me confirm the speed.
Okay. You told 220. I know you are 15 miles.
Yeah. Let me.
3 must be ours.
Just confirm with him.
Okay. You're coming to the center line.
106, just confirm any further speed restrictions?
K116, sorry?
Any further speed restrictions? Flying 220 now.
Reduce now to 180, sir.
180 knots, Kenya.
Flap 1.
Speed is good.
3 for kilo,
wireless center.
Are you trying to intercept?
Not
Kenya 116 left, heading 215, intercept the localizer.
Left heading 215, intercept localizer, Kenya 106.
Good end on 401, leave 3 on the right, approach, speed 180.
Flap 5.
Speed is good, close 5.
Speed 180, current on 401.
Cleared approach.
Cleared for the approach, 401.
KLM 3 for kilo down to 3000, 1018.
3000 for 018, kilo.
Arrival, goedemiddag, KLM 1 to Yankee.
1 to Yankee, is cleared for center.
Lock capture.
Check.
KLM 30 Yankee, speed 180.
Speed 180, KLM 30 Yankee.
Good end on 401, tower 1181.
1181, dankjewel, doei, 401.
96 Lima, speed 210.
Speed 210, KLM 96 Lima.
KLM 1 to Yankee down to 3000, 1018.
3000, 1018, 1 to Yankee.
Temperature is below, but
Kenya 116, leave 3000 on the glide slope. You are cleared for approach, runway 18 right.
Leave 3000 on the glide slope, clear for the approach, 18 right, correction, 18 center, Kenya 106.
Sorry, 18 center indeed.
Okay, Zulu Whiskey Alpha, established.
Hello, Flamengo.
10 miles.
Yep.
Farm again 463, descend to 3000 feet, QNH 1018.
Descending 3000
feet, down 20.
1018, Farm Bulgaria 463.
Kenya 116, keep 180 till 4, and call 1181.
The speed 180 to 4, and call 1181, Kenya 106.
3 miles to go to 65.
Tower Kenya 116 established on the ILS around the 18 center.
Kenya 116, roger, number 2 runner 18 center, the wind is 28012, maximum 17.
Kenya 116.
Okay, 180 to 4.
Yeah, hold on a little
so
bit.
So now hold on the flaps, huh?
Put it at about 6.
Okay.
6 dB.
Thank you. Current 401, runway 18 center, clear to land, wind 28013.
We are clear to land, 18 center, 401.
Flap 20.
Speed is good, flaps 20. I missed approach is 2000.
Yep. Land 3.
Land 3, roll out loud.
This kind of 697 low behind KLM 737, line up and later on a 24 behind.
Behind with the KLM 737, line up and wait behind.
13 landing check.
Flaps 30.
Delta reaching 2000 feet, contact departure on 119.05.
Landing check.
Departure 119.05.
Kenya 116, runway 18 center, clear to land, wind 27013.
Clear land, runway 18 center, Kenya 106.
Okay, brakes.
Hello, Cadet 30.
Meters 1018, 840.
Cabin secure.
Maximum 18.
Confirmed.
Go around altitude.
Set.
Calin 30 Yankee number 2, runway 18 center, wind 27013, traffic departing runway 24.
Landing checklist complete.
Thanks. Wide direct, manual.
Checks. Right cross 12 knots.
Neutralize the nose center rudder, please.
500.
500, 300 minimums. $200 minimums.
400.
Heading 180.
Papa Delta Sierra, you've got switch, 19005, please.
Approaching minimums.
Bye.
Oh, goeiedag, Calin 96 Lima, 10 DME on
300.
Calin 96 Lima, goedemiddag, number 3, runway 18 center, wind 27014, traffic departing runway 24.
200.
Roger, Calin 9.
Right cross 13 knots.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse is normal.
Speedbird 435, runway 24, cleared for takeoff. The wind is 28013, maximum 18.
Takeoff 2435.
Down entry to left.
Target 85013, radiant sequence behind the Corona.
Close out 5313, roger.
SQ7 coming up. 60 knots. And reverse
Calin
is
30 Yankee, runway 18 center, cleared to land, wind 28012, maximum 17.
Clear land, 18.
Thumbs up and after.
Nudge.
Kenya 106, SQ7.
Hello, Kenya 116, first left, taxi to Foxtrot 8, at the moment still occupied, expect position 2.
Roger, first left and Foxtrot 8, Kenya 117.
Occupied.
Yep.
Speedbird 438, stand by on 121.7.
Stand by 121.7, Speedbird 438.
Intercept.
Heading 215, intercept progress, Kenya 116.
We forgot us. R5.
Speed is good.
Check.
Which is below. Leave 3000 on the glide slope, level approach, 25 miles, only center analysis. Okay, Zulu Whiskey Alpha, established.
What do you say? You see something?
Yeah, Zulu Whiskey Alpha is the established.
Bring the people over here. Log in.
Normally they give you a nice CDA.
Mouse. Gear down 20. 40.
Cabin secure.
Confirmed.
Go around altitude.
Set.
Running checklist complete.
Flight director, Roger.
Right course 12 knots.
Authorize the nose descent and runway please.
500.
200 kilometers.
400.
Approaching minimums.
300. Minimums. 200.
Right course 30 knots.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Slip break up. Reverse.
Up and after.
Kenya 116 will say something. Was the first flight done by petrol?
Oh, good flight.
Yeah. Right and grab on the whole shot of Alpha 16, 116. Okay, London checklist.
Yeah. Any view shot here? American carry. Yep. Okay, and that side off, please. Equal 7.
Yep, 200. APU running?
Okay, so just about the engines are off at this time, and we had the APU initially running, and the ground crew have facilitated us with the ground power unit. So now the procedures for Amsterdam requires to shut down the APU within 5 minutes of docking to the apron. So I'm going to shut down the APU now. Once the ground power is connected and attached to the aircraft. Otherwise, Now I'll be going through our shutdown, parking and shutdown checklist, and which is here in our electronic checklist. So electrical power is on the ground power. Park switches are all off, and forward cargo AC is off, and transponder is also on standby. Parking and shutdown checklist is complete, and that's the end of the parking of the aircraft at this time. So our flight 116 from Nairobi to Amsterdam comes to a stop at bay number 8 in Schiphol. Thank you.
It's a lovely flight to have you on board, and we appreciate you coming to take this video we have of Kenya Airways, and I'm sure it will go a long way in explaining to our guests what we do and the capabilities of our aircraft. So thank you very much.